Amusement parks will never be the same again. The amusement park industry as a whole is spiraling downward so fast, it's stupid. Six Flags is obviously at the forefront of everything with their CEO raising prices to the moon and giving nothing back in return. It's one thing to raise the prices of your parks in exchange for better quality, but if you aren't adding any new coasters anytime soon, then how on earth do you justify raising prices so high? If I can go to a Cedar Fair park for the same price as a Six Flags park, and they have better rides that continuously get new additions and massive record-breaking coasters, then why would I ever go to a Six Flags? Salim Masool is literally a disaster right now, and we need change ASAP. There's nothing wrong with changing the chain to be more like Disney and charge a higher price for a higher quality product, but when the prices go up and the quality stays the same, at the same time that every other park is adding massive new rides and improving their parks, then you have a disaster. I mean, if you're trying to be Disney, then you gotta have a Disney budget. Disney literally just broke the record for the world's most expensive coaster just 2 years after Universal did. Universal built Hagrid's in 2019, which cost a record $300 million, and for 2022, Disney opened Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, which somehow cost them a rumored $500 million. If you're trying to make your parks like Disney and Universal, then you better be providing the quality they provide. It's true some of the Six Flags parks are stacked with massive thrill machines, but if you don't add anything new while everyone else continues to add massive new coasters, you're gonna lose the competition. Salim's idea of raising prices to reduce crowds and provide a better quality experience is an interesting one, and it may actually work. But the goal of an amusement park is for it to be filled with people. Find any amusement park that you can walk into on a weekend in the summer and it'll have no lines. Every single major park in the country is packed with crowds all the time. So maybe Salim's idea is a brilliant concept no one else thought of. But if you plan to reduce crowds by raising prices, you still have to provide something for the higher prices. Salim also said he wants to cater to families instead of thrill seekers, and that's great. But if your parks are stacked with thrill rides and geared to thrill seekers, then the only way to change that is by adding more family rides and experiences. If Salim was opening 2 new massive highly themed family coasters at different parks for 2023, then maybe his new ideas for the chain would make sense. But what's he doing now is absurd. But the problems don't end with Six Flags. I'm not going to talk more about the Six Flags issue in this video, and if you want to hear more, Attraction Ideas has a great video on this topic you can watch called The Death of Six Flags. But anyway, Six Flags isn't the only theme park chain making massive mistakes that could send them in a downward spiral. Though Six Flags' mistakes are definitely the worst from all the other theme parks chains. Cedar Fair isn't doing too well either though. After 2020, the chain decided to open nothing new in 2021, and for 2022 they opened 1 new coaster, which was a mini SNS 4D free spin clone at King's Dominion. Yes, that came with a beautifully newly done area and it was a great addition to the park. But you'd think by 2023, Cedar Fair would be somewhat back to their pre-COVID investment strategy. So when we saw land clearing happening at Worlds of Fun and massive construction was at Cedar Point, we all went on to think Cedar Fair is finally back. Well, guess what? Cedar Fair decided to give Worlds of Fun another wooden coaster, which I will give them credit for making it extremely unique with the spiral lift hill, but a wooden coaster is nothing special. Not only that, but wooden coasters are relatively cheap. Cedar Fair gave a smaller park a cheaper coaster and made it extremely unique, and being that it's the first coaster Worlds of Fun got in over a decade, I can't really complain. That's where we get to Cedar Point. They're getting, nope, not a B&M Giga or a GCI dueling wooden coaster, not the world's tallest B&M flying coaster, not a new Vekoma. They're getting a Wild Mouse. Are you kidding me? A Wild Mouse at the best amusement park in the country? I don't care that it's coming with a brand new boardwalk area. Cedar Point? Seriously? I mean, there are so many other boardwalk family coasters that could have worked here. A mini launch max spinner would have been one great option, and there's so many more. Come on, Cedar Fair. I mean, this feels like a Six Flags thing to do. Cedar Fair did give Carowinds another great investment with their new themed area of new rides. So Carowinds gets a nice investment and Worlds of Fun finally gets a nice investment. But Cedar Point, the chain's favorite child, that's had one of the largest coaster gaps in its history with no new coaster since 2018, gets Wild Mouse. Well, I guess I should congratulate Cedar Fair that they didn't take the Six Flags route and quit adding rides altogether. But SeaWorld isn't doing too well either. Just look at Pantheon. SeaWorld has been a chain that was a step up from the others. In the last decade, SeaWorld took a focus on adding new coasters, but their theming was always pretty good. SeaWorld ain't no Disney or Universal, obviously, but their theming was always really solid. That was until Pantheon. Pantheon was literally the epitome of wasted potential. Literally a coaster that could have stood up to Velocicoaster, but instead had Six Flags level theming. Which, if you don't know what Six Flags level theming is, it's like this. Clear some land, build a coaster, add an entrance, add an exit, and maybe a few signs. Pantheon looks sad, and many people were disappointed at SeaWorld's decline in quality. They still are adding better coasters than Six Flags and Cedar Fair though. They're opening 3 more coasters this year, all of which aren't cheap coasters. SeaWorld Orlando's surf coaster is from B&M, and B&M are usually pretty expensive. So if SeaWorld, Cedar Fair, and Six Flags are all in decline, then maybe Disney is doing it right. But nope, Disney has been doing terrible too. The lines in the parks are disastrous, and the reservation systems they have for rides are literally done the worst way possible. Disney's prices are through the roof, but if you pay a price like that, you want to actually do something on the day you visit the park, not wait in line for 4 hours. Then Disney thought they'd add a brand new coaster and literally threw $500 million at a wall with Guardians. Tell me how that coaster cost 20 times the price of King of the Ka, cause I can't seem to understand where all the money went. Or did Disney just spend a ton of money for the sake of beating Universal's record for the most expensive coaster? Well, if Disney has been declining and SeaWorld, Cedar Fair, and Six Flags chains have been declining, then maybe the independent parks are still keeping the same quality they had 5 years ago. The Hollywood is adding the most expensive coaster, and it is... Wait, I'm confused. This is your most expensive coaster. You mean this costs more than Wild Eagle and Lightning Rod? Wow. So has anyone been doing well in the last few years? Oh, Universal. Universal is literally doing better than ever, and maybe I'll even do a video on this topic soon. Universal has slowly been creeping up on Disney in recent years, and with their new park opening very soon, it looks like Disney is in trouble. There's also one more park that's been doing better than ever. Hershey Park. Does anyone know what's going on here? Why are Disney, Universal, SeaWorld, Cedar Fair, and Six Flags all in decline? I honestly don't understand it. We've been seeing random parks booming like never before, like Fun Spot or Cartoland. So why would all these massive chains be in decline? I really would love to hear your thoughts on this. Is this just a temporary situation, or are all the major chains and theme parks following the footsteps of Salim Basul from Six Flags? I really think it's not the latter, and hopefully the future of amusement parks and theme parks are a lot brighter than it seems now. Universal and Hershey Park seem to be the only major parks that look like they know what they're doing now, and Hershey Park may even be about to become the best park in the entire country. I did an entire video on everything going on with Hershey Park, and I think the park is about to complete its lineup, finally becoming the world's ultimate theme park. Click here to watch my video on this topic, and you're not going to want to miss it, because if Hershey Park is becoming the world's best theme park, wouldn't you want to be the first to know?